everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to do a smoked out winged eyeliner. I find that this is particularly valuable for those of us with hooded eyelids. As my 30s approach, I've realized that it becomes harder to create graphic looks because you want a straight line and sometimes the folds in our eyes just don't allow it. And I've got quite a deep crease and that creates a fold if I'm looking straight at you. And I want to show you that you don't have to be scared to completely ignore that fold and just sort of go with it. So let's get cracking. I've already prepped my skin, so I use the ENVIRON Moisture Gel and I also combine that with their Super Moisturiser. And then I have a little bit of a trick that I love, my SPF from ENVIRON as well. This creates the most beautiful glow. It's not one of those thick foundations, thick sunscreens that, you know, make you feel like you're wearing sunscreen the whole day. It really is light on the skin and it doesn't feel very oily, but I love a super shiny skin. So yeah, anything that gives me a little bit extra shine, I absolutely love. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my foundation now that my skin is already prepped. I love to use the M.A.C Face and Body. I just love to give it a good shake. This is the bottle. I'm using the color C1. Now I love this because it's completely sheer, but you can build it up. I would say it still remains a light coverage. You can never get it to be a medium coverage, but I've got freckles, so I find that if I get a medium coverage, my freckles tend to go gray. So I would rather do completely full coverage or a light coverage, but most of the time I'll go for a completely sheer foundation. So I've shaken the bottle and I'm just applying it to my hand, and I'm going to work it in with my fingers because I find that it works best. I'm going to be looking this way because my mirror is down here. I find that if you apply it in circular motions and you work it into the skin until it becomes not tacky, but it's almost, the consistency becomes a bit thicker and your fingers, you can feel that your fingers aren't moving as smoothly over the face, and that means that it's setting into the skin. So I love this foundation underneath higher coverage foundations as well. This just gives you a very good base and it keeps your skin really dewy and it just evens out the skin tone. I'm just making sure I don't have any lines and that everything is beautifully blended in. Okay, so next up I'm going to apply a paint pot just to even out the skin tone. I'm actually going to apply this with my finger as well. I just find that on myself, the heat of my finger works the product into the skin beautifully and I don't have to clean my brushes all the time. So I'm just starting in the center of the eye and working the product in. And this is covering up any veins that you might have. I have quite veiny eyelids, so this is just evening out the skin tone. So I'm going to go in with this color Wedge from M.A.C. It's a beautiful nude color. I actually contour my face with this as well. I just find that you create beautiful guidelines and it just makes it all a lot easier. So I'm not going to go straight into the line. I'm going to first start by defining my lash line. So I'm going to start in the center of the eye and just take a smudger brush and just work that color in. And then I'm also taking it towards the inner corner, but I am creating a bit of a thinner line towards the inner corner. I always like to go slightly thicker towards the edge. So with this application, I just want to say it's really important, especially if you have hooded eyes. Now I've applied it now and I looked down just so that I can get a smooth application, but by the time that we're going to start extending the line past that crease, you really don't want to be lifting your eyebrow. Now I do lift my eyebrow because this is my talking brow, but you want to relax your eye and keep it completely neutral, and you want to look straight ahead into a mirror so that you can plan and map the shape that you would have if you are looking into someone's eyes like this. You're not going to talk to people like this, so if you create your line like that, or if you are pulling your eye this way, the moment you drop it, it's going to chill down there and create a loop. You're not going to have the shape that you are trying to achieve, so always look straight into the mirror. So I'm going to be going in with the plummy brown from the Makeup Studio. This is one of my favorite colors. It just looks exceptional on everyone. Now you can absolutely go in with a black eyeshadow and create that sort of 50s flick. I just think using a brown is so modern and very flattering, and yeah, I just really like it. So I'm taking an angled brush so that I have a little bit more precision. And I'm once again gonna start in the center of the eye, and I'm gonna start really close to the lash line. I don't want to, you know, draw the shape in from the start. I'm gonna start at the lashes and sort of in upward motions fade the color out. You want the darkest color to fade into the light sultry color that we've just applied. And when I'm looking straight ahead, you can see that my crease is right there, and the line is definitely going to go across that crease. So normally if you do a gel liner or a liquid liner, you would end up with a little bit of a bat wing. Now there's no way to avoid that if you have a hooded eye. You are most probably still, if you close your eyes, you're going to have that sort of thing happen. It's almost like a lightning bolt batwing eyeliner, but the fact that we're going to smoke it out is going to help a lot because it creates an optical illusion. It's so much softer, it's so much more forgiving. It's still going to be graphic, but it just is a little bit softer and easier. Now looking straight into a mirror, I want to follow the lower lash line, like that angle that it has. I want to follow that outwards. So taking this color, the Brazilian nut, the darker color, I'm just going to look into the mirror and follow that angle of the eye. I'm just gonna, where the lower lash and the upper lash line meet each other, I'm just gonna put my brush down in the same angle. That's the beauty of having an angled brush. It kind of does the job for you. So I'm just putting down the brush and then just moving the brush upwards in that angle. So now you can see it's like a little guideline for me to work from. So I'm going to go back in with that same color. Now I'm going to build on my shape. So what I'm going to do is, where I created that line, I'm now going to start fading the color upwards in an upward motion. And I don't want to create a line from the top. I want to work from the bottom upwards so that I can see when I need to stop. And this is where it's really important to keep your eye neutral and look straight ahead into the mirror. So I'm putting my brush down and just sweeping that color up into the line that we created earlier. And by keeping my eye neutral, I'm working over the fold and over the skin. So I'm not doing this and creating a line, and then when I look up, everything disappears. And it's soft, short, sweeping motions. And the nice thing of an angle brush is you have a little point that you get to work with. So I'm just using that to sort of fill this crease section in. And I'm just slowly connecting this lash line with the shape of the wing. I want it to go out quite straight. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go in with my lighter blending color, and I'm just going to soften the edges and make sure that everything is well blended. Now this will not change my shape, it's much too subtle. But it is a nice little trick to just make everything work together. And you can use this color to slightly extend your liner more. And also if you want to create a sharper line, you can do that afterwards with concealer. We might just do that. Alright, so I'm going to go in for mascara with the Maybelline Rocket Express Volume. So a nice little trick is actually to look down into your mirror and apply your mascara. That way you don't really get it on your lash line. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I always end up with mascara on my lash line. Alright, so that is one eye done. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other eye off camera, and then we'll finish my foundation. So the blush I'm using is called Formentera by Charlotte Tilbury. I'm just going to apply it with my finger. So because I like a really glowy look, I'm using cream products. You don't have to. I know a lot of people like a matte look. I love a shiny look. I don't mind looking like I just jumped straight out of a KFC bucket. But yeah, so I'm just applying this to my finger. I like a very natural look, so I wouldn't say, you know, only apply to the apple of the cheek. I like to sort of blend it in, and because it's a cream product, it can move, and that's fine. There's no issue with that. I just want it to look completely natural. Now I'm using this Conceal and Correct palette by M.A.C. It's been through a lot. I've been using it often. It's the light palette. So I'm just going to go in with my fingers, and wherever I need a little bit more concealing, like I've got a spot there and there, and a couple on the side there. This one. You can use a brush. I just like to use my fingers to let the product really melt into the skin. Just got a little spot here. And then I woke up this morning with a nice one right here. So I'm just going to cover that up as well. I'm just double checking everything. I think that's enough coverage for me. I'm not a coverage kind of person. Alright, so now I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. This has been one of my favorites for years now. I don't know if you can see that properly, but it's a favorite of mine. So to add some more shine, I'm going to just apply this to the high points of the face so that I apply a thin layer and not a blotchy layer. You also don't want to pick up everything that you've just applied. So the more you apply and have to work into the skin, the more you remove what you've already done. And that just doesn't make sense. So just the high points of the face. How beautiful is that glow? I love it. A little bit of forehead glow. and down the center of the nose. Please take care if you have a spot on your face not to highlight that, because that will just make it look bigger. It will literally just highlight it. Cupid's bow. Just pressing it into the skin. How nice is that shine? Alright, so to remove shine in unwanted places and to set the concealer that I've done, now that it is soaked into the skin, I am just going to apply the Mercier translucent powder. I'm not showing you the container because I actually have it in a little tester bottle. They were kind enough to let me try it out before purchasing, because it's definitely not cheap, but let me tell you, it's worth every cent. So I'm just pressing underneath the eye to make sure that there's no creasing. And then I'm just applying a light layer. You don't have to go nuts. Because I struggle with creasing and fine lines underneath my eyes, I definitely don't want to head into the sort of baking technique. This just eliminates any unwanted shine. You don't want to be shiny everywhere. So now I'm just going in and powdering everywhere that I concealed my pigmentation. I find that like a pressing motion is better than sweeping. Okay, so for eyebrows, because I have this dramatic look, I'm going to define the gaps slightly, but I'm not going to create a very graphic brow. So I'm just going to brush them up. And then fill them in slightly. I'm using Brun by M.A.C, as well as the same angled brush that I used for my liner. I've just cleaned it off now. I don't want a dark color. So I'm just literally filling in the gaps. And if you're using an eyeshadow to fill in your brows, it does actually cling to the hairs. So it's not that you always have to sort of draw the brow into the skin, or onto the skin rather. It's just sort of depositing the color onto the hairs. I'm barely touching my brow. I'm literally doing the softest little sweeps. I like a bit of a spiky brow, so mine tends to stand up on this side and lay flat on the other side. But I will either gel them or do a soap brow so that they stay in position all day. I think today I'm going to go for a little bit of brow set. Alright, and to finish off this look, I'm just going to use a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury cream blush that I used on my cheeks. I'm just going to apply that to the lips. Also using my finger, just to create a stain. And now I'm just going to take the M.A.C Fix Plus spray to set that in place. And there we go. That's the finished look. I hope that you've enjoyed this smoky liner for hooded eyes. Bye.